a keynote in the program, and one I think that is very important to the program, and a speaker I'm really excited to announce. We really take time to make sure that everybody understands this is a global event. We're celebrating renewable energy startups from all over the world, and maybe you've noticed yourself that in each one of the categories we've had so far, startups from different continents have pitched. We've had startups from Mexico, startups from Singapore, Vietnam, and it's really important for us that it's a global take on the energy transition. And a special category that we celebrate that with is, of course, the category Energy Access and SDG 7. So to segue us into an even more global mindset, I'm really excited to announce the next speaker to you and introduce Anita Otubu. She is the Senior Director and responsible for the Universal Energy Facility at the Sustainable Energy for All. And before joining Sustainable Energy for All, Anita was the head of the project management unit of the 550 million Nigeria electrification project, so a really big project under the Rural Electrification Agency, which aimed to accelerate the private market for development of mini-grids, for captive power plants, and solar home systems for underserved homes, as well as connecting enterprises, educational and healthcare institutions. So a really major undertaking. And she is also a Knowledge Network member of the United Nations Office for the Special Advisor on Africa. Please give her a really big round of applause. Welcome to the stage, Anita.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Lord knows I needed those dance moves. But I'm not sure whether I now have the breath to actually deliver my speech now. But yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm Anita Otubu, as mentioned. I am a Senior Director at Sustainable Energy for All. And I'm actually here representing my CEO, Mrs. Damalola Ogunbiyi, who extends her highest regards, and she asked me to express her appreciation for the great partnership that Sustainable Energy for All has with the organizers of the SET Festival, the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy, as well as Dana. Now, with that being said, I'd like to thank the organizers for once again bringing together this global community of entrepreneurs, innovators, financiers, and partners who are working day in, day out towards shaping the future of energy. Now, this year marks the 10th anniversary of the SET Festival. That's over a decade of being an extremely important platform for bringing together or for enabling energy innovation, bringing together bold ideas and people who actually believe in these ideas into the same room. I think that deserves a round of applause. Now, why does this matter? Because energy transition is not going to be delivered by technology alone. It will be delivered by the people. However, for 600 million plus people around the world, they do not have access to electricity. And so when we think about energy transition, we should think about it through the just lens. What is just energy transition? For a lot of us, we rarely have to even think about energy. From the flicker of a switch, we expect the lights to come on. We expect the fridge to keep our food from spoiling. We expect the TV to entertain us. But for millions of people who don't have access to electricity, there is a barrier to opportunity, to health, and to dignity. It's the difference between a clinic being able to run life-saving equipment or turning away patients from the clinics. It's the difference between a farmer being able to preserve crops or losing income. It's the difference between a student being able to work after sunset or falling behind. Energy access brings about opportunities. Now, unlike this part of the world, many of these communities, they are not transitioning from one technology to the next. They're transitioning from nothing to something. And so they present a unique opportunity to leapfrog directly to clean energy systems. And as at today, there are decentralized renewable energy solutions that are really making tangible and transformational changes in these rural communities through the development of mini-grid, standalone solar for productive use, solar home systems, and mesh grids. However, technology doesn't scale, finance does. At Sustainable Energy for All, we created a universal energy facility, which I lead, which essentially unlocks capital for last mile markets. Using results-based finance, we support private sector companies with grants for each and every verified electricity connection that are made in rural communities that oftentimes traditional investors find too risky. And the results are tangible. We've been able to electrify or provide electricity to over 65,000 people, including 4,000 healthcare and educational facilities, as well as MSMEs. However, the real story is not in the numbers, it's in the people. So for example, there's a gentleman by the name of Zeferino. He is a farmer, a sunflower farmer in Zambia. He used to travel 50 kilometers a day in order to process his sunflower seeds. This cost him time, money, energy, opportunities. But when the solar mini-grid arrived in his community, he was able to process 50 bags of sunflower seeds daily. And this increased his income. Furthermore, it enabled his children to be able to go to school. And overall, it presented a brighter future for his family. And this is what Energy Access is all about. It's all about kickstarting or jump-starting local economies. Innovators are not waiting for the transition to happen. They're actually the ones building it. And you have innovators like Hannah Kabir. She's the CEO of Creed Energy in Nigeria. Having grown up in the UK and Nigeria while studying renewable energy, she became quite disturbed by the fact that Nigeria has or is one of the largest oil-producing countries. And yet, millions of its people don't have access to electricity, or at least even reliable electricity. So she embarked upon the business of deploying renewable energy solutions in those communities that don't have. And many are benefiting from it today. And for every Hannah Kabir there are thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs, innovators that are building similar solutions, whether it be solar-powered cold storage for farmers, or pay-as-you-go energy systems, or digital platforms to enable the affordability of the electricity for people who've never had them before. However, as we celebrate the ingenuity emerging from frontier markets, it's also important that we recognize the innovation that's coming from energy transition solutions that are critical for the global north, especially as some might argue the global north is responsible for a significant portion of the global emissions. North America, Europe, probably near universal access to electricity, they have a significant challenge with regards to decarbonizing existing infrastructure, existing systems that have been built over a century ago. We've heard that buildings in Europe account for up to 40% of energy consumption. And in the US, aging grid infrastructure is driving outages, which is costing billions of dollars. This is a major challenge, and it's not a challenge that can be solved using yesterday's tools. There's need for creativity, there's need for experimentation, and there's need for bold entrepreneurship, which defines the very set tech community that we have here today. However, with that being said, we're already seeing innovations happening across the global north. In Germany, for example, smart heat pumps powered by renewable electricity are being installed at a record pace, with installations rising more than 50%. In the United States, a national target was set to power communities with solar to serve 5 million households, lowering bills and emissions. And across Europe, digital grid technologies, AI forecasting, and virtual power plants are enabling renewable energy penetration in several countries. These innovations show that transition is an opportunity to modernize infrastructure and build resilient economies. And they remind us that when the global north and south learn from one another, progress accelerates for everyone. And that is why, before I say this, but innovation cannot succeed in isolation. And that is why I'm so grateful for the Set Tech Festival that takes place, because it puts voices like yours, the startups, innovators, entrepreneurs, at the forefront of the energy transition conversation, just where it belongs. But what can we do to support these startups? The truth of the matter is, 3 things need to be collectively carried out. Number 1, governments need to provide enabling policies which open the market and attract private sector investment. Secondly, financial institutions need to make bold investments. And what's the key word everybody is used to hearing? Patient investments or patient capital. Utilizing innovative financing solutions like results-based financing or other de-risking tools in order for these clean energy solutions to truly succeed and scale. And thirdly, leaders in the ecosystem need to back these entrepreneurs and these startups a lot more, beyond just giving them an applause at the end of their pitches. They need to provide them with procurement opportunities, partnerships, investments, even mentorships. So as we have heard from the startups today, I'd like you guys to really think about how you are going to support them going forward. What can you do beyond giving them that round of applause in order for these solutions to not remain ideas, but to succeed, to thrive, and to scale? Thank you very much.